warm and hearty welcome to this special conversation on NTV, where we are focusing on the state and the recovery of the business environment. Kenya's economy slumped into recession in the third quarter of 2020 as growth engines such as hospitality and education took a severe hit from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Underlying the grim statistics, however, were pointers to a resilient business environment which was tiding through the COVID-19-induced downturn against all odds. In the third quarter of 2020, for example, the agriculture and financial services sectors grew by 6.3% and 5.3% respectively. The construction sector reported a stellar 16.2% growth, and data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics indicates that the number of unemployed persons declined by 473,312 between the second quarter and the third quarter of 2020. Now tonight we want to discuss the recovery of the business environment, and for this I am joined by Lawrence Karanja, the Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Enterprise Development, Simon Ndung'u, the Chief Retail Banking Officer at Family Bank, and lastly, Engineer Martha Cheruto, I should say, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer at the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on set, and I should mention that you can be part of this conversation by tweeting at NTV Kenya at AmbokJH, and we shall be sampling your views just to bring them to visibility in terms of what your thoughts are on this conversation. Let me begin with CAS, Lawrence. SMEs are very critical in this economy. They're the backbone. If you look at available data from the government, we have about 7.4 million entities operating as SMEs in this country. What is the state of play regarding SMEs? Because around the COVID-19 pandemic, we were having a conversation around building resilience in this segment of the economy. CAS, Lawrence, please rather unmute your mic.
Good. I was saying that SMEs, like any other sector, were seriously affected by COVID-19. And as you all know, most of our people in Kenya, they work in the SME sector. That is, be it in farming, be it in manufacturing, small-scale traders, small-scale manufacturers, etc., etc. And therefore, arising from the COVID-19, most of them were seriously affected, especially in the first after March, when most of the when there was controlled, because we didn't have a lockdown. What we had was controlled or restricted movement of goods and services. But what I would say is that most of our most of our SMEs are already on their path to the recovery. And government has come up with several strategies to support our SMEs. Which are these strategies? Remember, we now have, first, we have the credit guarantee scheme, which is almost at the final stage. We also came up with the mechanism, especially for supporting the locally manufactured goods, where the government last year gazetted a list of 324 items, which will only be bought locally by the government entities. This was meant also to support the local SMEs. We also had the tax measures. You remember, up to that 1st December, we had cautioned them through tax measures. But for now, we are looking at how we can now start and continue with the support. And the main system we are coming up with is a credit guarantee scheme, which will support the SMEs.
Right, and let me hold you to that point and cross over to Simon Ndung'u. I like the point you brought in, CAS, regarding the credit guarantee scheme. Simon, you sit on the banking and financial services side, very critical as far as tiding through the COVID-19 crisis was concerned because of the volume of loans that have been restructured in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. When you look at the SME landscape and sitting in your position as the retail head at Family Bank, what are your thoughts looking into 2021?
Thank you and good evening, viewers. 2020 was an year that we never and had never imagined of. Looking at the landscape and the journey that started in March 13th, where we found ourselves into an even lockdown. International airspace was affected. Some sectors like hospitality, the hotel industry, the schools, the transport sector, everything came to a standstill. Within 2020, the COVID environment, key sectors were affected and other sectors were actually thriving. So looking at that landscape in terms of economic growth, the economy took a slowdown. And more importantly to note is that the impact that it brought across in terms even the job losses, not forgetting also the COVID-19 protocols that were introduced, where people had to social distance, not forgetting also the aspect of even using of sanitizers, face masks, and change of operating model within the business environment as far as banking industry is concerned. Digital space now came into play. Looking at the space and actually even the transactions through the regulator, the tariff had to be lowered, limit of transactions all the way to 300,000, and making sure that now transactions move to digital space to support our customers. So within our SMEs, especially the ones that are import business, not forgetting the ones that are actually doing the hospitality, the hotels, the schools, and also a couple of churches, these all was affected, and it now presented a challenge to us in terms of facilities, where we had to consider based on the CBK based on CBK guidelines, that we had to restructure facilities. How did we approach this? Give moratorium to customers in terms of a holiday. The other thing we had to look at is also give them, maybe if they can afford to pay facilities, then we gave them, maybe they can repay the interest only or principal only, or even a consideration where we had to give them just a period for them to readjust themselves.
Okay.
Within the SME space, you'll find also even the real estate was affected, where landlords has to struggle. Looking at it even from the purpose of any income, and this one I'll say even from Robert Keynes, one key economist, is that any income has two functions. One is consumption, the other one is for savings. So people had to resort basically to the basic commodities, that is food, and sustainability in terms of health. So looking at it then from that perspective, then Family Bank had to spring into action, where we had to work with our customers and listen to them more.
Okay.
Because our purpose is to enable people to create and sustain wealth through affordable financial services. So looking at that, then listening to our customers more, working with the journey with them, and also now even the restructures that you had to look at. Family Bank, we've even done restructures north of 15 billion, just looking within the SME and people in businesses to help them cushion and also understand them better, and now walk the journey with them towards recovery.
Simon, let me hold you there.
It's true 2021 now. Thank you.
Let me hold you there and come back to you a little later on and cross over to Engineer Martha Cheruto of the umbrella private sector body that is KEPSA. Simon is mentioning some very critical elements here, where we talk about restructuring loans to the tune of about 15 billion shillings. That's just Family Bank alone. One of the challenges we've had is that many financials will tell you SMEs face the challenge of capacity building. Even when you talk about de-risking them, what about their capacity for investor readiness? What is KEPSA doing as far as this is concerned when you look at the SME landscape in Kenya?
Thank you, Julian. Good evening, everyone. So one, as KEPSA as the umbrella body, what we did last year when the COVID was now announced as a pandemic, we had to sit down as an organization and ask ourselves, how do we ensure that businesses, there's continuity of business within the country and even just sustaining the economic growth. So we developed an economic response framework that we shared with government, and this brought in some stimulus packages that we saw being announced. Part of them have been mentioned by the CIS, and even we are glad that the financial sector came in and provided opportunities for the SMEs. Beyond that, what we also did in terms of capacity building is that we partnered with various stakeholders and development partners in terms of just training the SMEs. For example, one thing that we can come on board is going through the online. Majority of the people starting working from home, e-commerce came into being, services had to be done, goods had to be delivered, and the question is what platform would they use? So we partnered with various organizations, and we managed to get the SMEs into that space. The other thing around it, what we also did is through a project called Ajira. Ajira is about digitalization and digitizing people, so mainly the youth around it. So we had to come in and just look at about 700 MSMEs. What could they do to get into this space? The benefits that we have seen is that there has been growth in terms of employment. Businesses have been there. Linkages also to markets, because it is about reskilling people and also retooling them. And as the private sector body, the question that we had is to ensure that these SMEs still retain and they will not go home. What did they have to do? So capacity building. We also got in mentorship. We had sessions almost every Friday whereby you have different leaders from the industry coming in to tell their story and giving their examples and holding hands of different SMEs to come in on board. So from that capacity and linking them with the markets, then it means that they have an access to sustaining through the entire period of the pandemic. The other thing that I can also mention to you is that looking at the surveys that we've done, because we used to do quarterly surveys, just understanding the impact of COVID towards it, is that 54% of these businesses said they can actually fully recover in 2021. So the question again this year that we're having as an organization is how then do we accelerate the economic recovery for all the sectors? Because under CAPSA we have like 16 sectors and all these are under sector boards. So we have an engagement with government through our sectors and promoting all the solutions that we can for the private sector. So continuous engagement, enhancing access to finance, because we also gave out loans which did not require any collaterals. And this was to our members and indirect members who have benefited, just to give them a boost towards it. So enhancing access to finance, enhancing market access, enhancing their skills towards it, and complementing the government efforts towards it is what helped us just ensure that we build resilience and supporting working from home. And I can finish by saying one other thing that we noted as a country is that Kenya has the top internet speeds. And therefore, when people are working from home, then it is one way of building resilience. Most organizations re-engineered their business processes. We saw manufacturers turning the operations into manufacturing of PPEs and the essential goods that were required within the country. So with that, it means that we do not see the country going back to a lockdown. It is just re-innovation, re-engineering the processes, and all of us just standing on our feet and saying, what more can we do to sustain? Because COVID is here to stay, but together we can always work together. Thank you.
Thanks, Martha. And let me cross over to CAS Lawrence. One of the aspects of resilience of the business environment was about the Ministry of Trade and Industry giving guidelines around the operations in light of a pandemic scenario. How has the uptake of this been like, particularly when you look at players, for example, in the Mitumba industry, where you gave some very detailed protocols as far as the importation and sale is concerned?
From the ministry point of view, any guidelines or guidance we gave was a result of negotiations and consultation. Before developing any guidelines or protocols, we engaged the stakeholders. For instance, we are talking about the Mitumba. If I just use that as an example, the protocols we came up with were not protocols developed by the ministry. It was as a result of serious consultation with the stakeholders. When it came to opening of the marketplaces, we also consulted the players, for instance, in the fresh produce markets on what needed to be done. We also engaged, for instance, when it came to opening of the clubs, we had to consult the stakeholders, the brewers, the distributors, and the other players, so that whatever we came up with was practical and acceptable to the stakeholders. So whatever, it is not that the government sat and came up with protocols and guidelines. This was as a result of negotiations with the key stakeholders. For instance, and I'm happy Engineer Cheruto is here, we were consulting the Kenya private sector, we were consulting the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, we consulted the Mitumba wholesalers and dealers, we consulted the people in the textile industry, and then we came up with policies which were acceptable. Of course, there will be a few people here and there who would complain, but by and large, my take is that the people were looking at two things. There were two, and as it's always said, there were two right things. One of them was opening the economy, and the second one was containing the pandemic. Both of them had to be done at the same time. Therefore, there had to be a compromise, even on the traders, that even if you sacrifice yourself a bit, but this is to make sure that you get back to your business, and at the same time, we are able to contain the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, CAS. Let me cross over to Simon, whereby the question here is, there are a number of ventures which, in the pursuit of resilience, had to repurpose themselves and to reconfigure their business to try and do something else to survive the crisis and cross over into the new year. How significantly, if at all it did this change how you look at their risk profile as businesses when you sit in your position as a bank?
Thank you. Most importantly is to just take note that the businesses have gone through cycles. More importantly is looking even at the way even meetings have happened currently now. Use of Zoom, use of technology. People migrate now to digital channels. For instance, now onboarding our customers to PesaPap, use of cards and other online channels to just transact and do business. So we've seen a significant uptick within this space. And also the other aspect we've looked at is also the way of doing business. We've had even to go further and refinance customers just to change their business model, and also even just to kickstart back their businesses. For instance, I can attest that schools have been away for 9 months, looking at from March all the way to December. Now January, all schools are back. So these are situations where they need refinancing for them to bounce back. Looking at also at the COVID-19 protocols, you find that there's a requirement for water, sanitizing, not forgetting also the aspect of expansion of their classrooms to observe the social distancing, or even the school buses that are currently need to transport their kids to school and back. So as Family Bank, we've come into this space to just finance our customers who are in schools and in learning institutions by offering them some working capital of 1 million based on your qualification criteria and even more, just to help you jump and bounce back into this sector. Other sectors within the agri space, yes, agri had picked up, but you find especially the people who are in the export business, people who are flower farmers, and any person who was dealing with the export business, they were highly affected, and actually the labor force went down. So in terms of remodeling their businesses, in terms of even supporting them, this is the journey that we've taken through. And actually this one, we've also even gone further through our business club and networking forums to just offer training to our SMEs. Because majority of our customers, over 70% of their business then sits within micro and SME space. So capacity building in terms of business training, tax matters, financial and bookkeeping, and also looking at even HR, personnel and human resource planning. This is something that we've been doing throughout this COVID session, and actually we plan to continue just to make sure that we support our customers better and also build that capacity for them to grow and even improve themselves.
Right. Thank you so much, Simon. And just before we go to a break, Martha, very quickly, you mentioned that based on your surveys as KEPSA, it is indicating that 54% of the businesses are bullish about a recovery in 2021. I'm just curious to understand, to what degree is this contingent upon us receiving the vaccine possibly within the first quarter of this year?
Okay. Yes, as we said, the 54% tell us that they're willing and they're actually seeing full recovery this year. With the coming in of the vaccine, we actually gives us a positive mindset, because it means one thing, that the lockdown that we were seeing last year will not happen again. The other thing that it does is that it also makes us rethink our services that we're giving to our members and even the public at large. The other thing that we're also seeing with the vaccine and how we can look at the different sectors is that we have seen the economy being opened up through the education sector. The reopening of the education sector has helped. We have seen the publishers coming in on board. We have seen the agriculture people taking up their space again back in the value chain. We have seen those in the textile industry taking back their space. Within the tourism sector, again, yes, we expect a slow recovery. I was actually this week in Mombasa and just understanding the tourism sector. And one thing that they were looking up and positive about is when the vaccine comes, it means that their spaces can still be taken up. They're looking at different products, the local tourism and the international tourism. But with that, then it means all of us have an access to their space. The other things that we can also talk about alongside just recovery, Julian's, is how best can we as a country set ourselves aside beyond the market that we have. COVID constricted us to the Kenyan market. Now with the AfCFTA that is there and us participating in the EAC market, and also now within globally and being within the continent, then it makes us look at all the indicators for global competitiveness and how do we restructure all these ingredients to just enhance them and improve our index globally. So the vaccine is a welcome idea. We're looking forward to it. It will help us also strengthen our health systems that are there in the country and also prepare for the future, because the future pandemics could come. This came in after 100 years. So what next? What happens? We had to move into the digital space because of all this. So what else? How best can we prepare ourselves to the future? And using that vaccine with the frontline workers, anyone within the space, then it means we can continue opening up the economy and strictly following the guidelines from the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Industrialization on how to recover and still make sure that we are all back on our feet and we can continue growing the economy. From the prospects that are there, we have seen a positive forecast. We're looking at about 6% growth this year.
Okay.
And what else can we do just to ensure that that happens this year? Thank you.
Right, and that point by Engineer Martha takes us to a short break. We will be right back with this conversation, detailing now the impact the SEFTA is expected to have on the business environment. Don't touch the dial.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
The magic beckons. From aquatic thrills to wild adventures, experience our latest additions to the magical Kenya Signature Experiences collection, filled with the most unique and authentic Kenyan travel experiences to cure your wanderlust. No matter where you choose to travel in this paradise we get to call home, you will be spoiled for choice and make memories that you'll cherish for a lifetime. Rediscover the magic.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Hi there.
Selena!
It's great seeing you getting so much value for your money.
Well, it's important to save as much as you can.
You save everywhere. Except for here. This is where you're throwing money down the drain.
How?
On these cleaning products.
Impossible!
Harpic 10X. While other cleaners blow away, Harpic 10X's viscous formula in only one round of application gives you sparkling, clean toilet. Harpic, 10 times better cleaning than other cleaning products.
And great savings too.
From far with you. I even gifted you a magnificent house. Rosa, it's the thought that counts. Please help me.
When it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Panadol Baby and Infant, tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Like every mother, I'm worried about dangerous insects, especially mosquitoes, which spread diseases like malaria to my loved ones. This year, I'm not afraid. I'm using Mortein Doom. Mortein Doom All Insect Killer provides protection in seconds. Not even a single mosquito is spared. Because even one mosquito bite can cause malaria. Mortein Doom provides protection in seconds.
Fast just got faster. Get fully locked on Airtel 4G. Now wider coverage to download, stream and browse at high speed. Airtel, the smartphone network.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
I have to admit, I didn't like Sukuma Wiki when I was growing up, but now I have created a way to make Sukuma Wiki tastier and meatier. I simply add 2 Royco beef cubes, and the end result is a rich, meaty flavor. And today, I have brought along my harshest food critics for a taste test. My kids.
More, please!
Royco beef cubes. Add 2 small cubes for a big, meaty taste.
Mix of the Week in association with Airtel.
I don't check my energy. Bossy, bossy.
Fast just got faster. Get fully locked on Airtel 4G. Now wider coverage to download, stream and browse at high speed. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Kijani Ridge is Tatu City's premier neighborhood, offering a 1.5-acre fully serviced plot in a controlled development. The plots overlook a beautiful dam with natural green spaces. Kijani Ridge is a walking distance from Nova Pioneer and Crawford International Schools. Families are already moved in and more homes are under construction. Contact us for daily site visits and join us for our mega open weekend on 6th and 7th March.
Try Panadol Advance for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Advance.
Welcome back to this special coverage by NTV, where we're focusing on the business environment, particularly on the recovery in light of the shock that we had in 2020, thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as I mentioned earlier, we are privileged to have the CAS in the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Development, that is Mr. Lawrence Karanja. We have Simon Dungu from Family Bank, and we have Engineer Martha from the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, where she serves as the Deputy Chief Executive Officer. Welcome back on set. Let me cross over to CAS Lawrence. Martha closed part 1 with a conversation on the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Just keen to know, what are your thoughts in terms of the opportunities this unlocks for the Kenyan business environment?
First of all, maybe I can explain what is African Continental Free Trade Area. This is an agreement by all African countries who are coming together to enable them have one trade bloc, and where there will be free movement of goods and services across the continent. This will mean that we will have free movement of goods from either part of Africa to the other part. Let me give an example. Right now in Kenya, we have the 2 trading bloc we have is the East African Community and COMESA. Because already when the African countries came up now with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, what it means is that we can now have our goods moving to the northern part of Africa, to the western parts of Africa, and other parts of the southern Africa where we don't have, where we do not have a trade agreement. How will this benefit Kenyans? One thing is this: if a country wants to grow and to develop, it must ensure that it increases its export and reduces the import. When we come now up with when we look at because the trade area has 54 countries. So far, 34 have already ratified. The total population within that area is 1.2 billion. That is market which is available and ready for African product and Kenyan product. This means that Kenyans will have an opportunity to go and sell their products in Ghana. They'll have an opportunity to go and sell their products in Morocco. They can take their products to Libya, Gambia, and many other countries where we don't have trade agreement. Now, this one, when what we are doing is that now we have created a market for our products. What is now necessary is now for our manufacturers, for our traders, for our farmers to start looking at identifying the markets. Instead of, for instance, people from Zimbabwe going and buying products from Europe or from China, they can buy these products from Kenya at a cheaper and a more affordable price, and that is the market we are looking at. So to enable us fulfill this process, what we are right now doing as a country, we are coming with a strategy to ensure that we are able to take advantage of this market. And the strategy is at the final stages. In fact, we expect to have it. It is going through the validation process, and we expect to have it ready by that 1st of March. Okay. Once the strategy is ready, we need now to go back to our farmers, to our manufacturers, advise them that, for instance, if you are producing this and this product, there is a market in DRC, there is a market in Senegal, there is a market for your product in Egypt, and that is where we are. So that, because this is a huge market, 1.2 billion people, it's a market ready for our products. Therefore, what we have to do is one of the issues we have to do in strategy is that we have to ensure that our products are competitive in terms of quality and in terms of pricing. And we are certain that our goods will meet those two criteria. Thank you.
CS, let me just stay with you on that very, very briefly before I cross over. Speaking about competitiveness, the reality that we are facing is that indeed we have a challenge on that front. If you look at, for example, something like the COMESA sugar safeguards, which you have renewed time and again, which speaks to the challenges we are facing as far as competitiveness is concerned. Aren't you worried that as we liberalize our markets, then we could have a bit of a challenge when it comes to our domestic industry coping with the other more competitive neighbors?
We don't think, because we are, for instance, we are coming up with strategies to encourage export. And some of them, for instance, in our country, we have areas, free zones, like special economic zone, which are meant to ensure that the products are competitive, because we are going to give incentives to our manufacturers so that we can make sure, for instance, I can give you an example, special economic zone in Naivasha. One of the reasons why it is said that our products are not competitive in terms of pricing is power tariffs. We have already gazetted special power tariffs for our investors, to ensure that the tariffs will be buying power will be lower than the normal one, so that they can be able to compete with our neighbors. Because we know one of the biggest challenges, in fact, other than the power, most of the other components are within the region. Therefore, what we are doing to do is that, and it is in our strategy, that's why we have said in our strategy, one of them is to look at why our products not competitive, and then we address all those challenges. Power is one of them, and then all those other, when we consulted our manufacturers, they gave us a list of items or reasons why they feel that our products are not competitive and how we can address those challenges. Number two, if we increase the volume, of course, there is an economy of scale. Once we increase the volume, then the chances are that also our products will become more competitive. And another thing we are certain about is the quality of our product. There is no doubt about the quality of what we shall be producing. So we will make them competitive in terms of pricing and in terms of quality.
Okay. All right. Many thanks, C.S. Lawrence, for that point. Let me cross over to Simon. And when you look at your loan book growth in 2021, which sectors do you see as giving you opportunities for accelerated growth in the business environment, Simon? Simon, can you hear me? All right. We shall cross. Okay, I'm told we can't get Simon right now, and we can't get Engineer Martha either. Let me just go back to CAS for Ministry of Industry, Trade and Enterprise Development. And we were discussing last year sometime when I hosted you, we discussed the project of KIEP, popularly known as KIEP. Could you just give us a background around this and the status update as to how far it has gone?
Yes, it's true. We spoke about KIEP, which means Kenya Industry and Entrepreneurship Program, which is this is a program which was launched in June 2019. And the key objective of the project was to increase innovation and productivity in select private sector firms. This project was supposed to have kicked off by now. However, as you all know, because of COVID-19, the process was slowed down. But we are still on course. I want to say that the project is supposed to be a public-private partnership model where the government come and support entrepreneurs and innovators, and then once they start, once they start, they'll be given support in terms of financial support, training, in terms of marketing, how to go about their business, etc. But it has several components. The first component one was what was called strengthening the ecosystem support infrastructure through support to intermediaries that include incubators. And this was mainly going to have two parts. The first one was of the sub-component is called Consortium of Growth in Africa. And we have looked for a consultant who is doing that. The second part of that component was to the education part, where we were to recruit people in the education sector, that is universities, technical institutions, and other research institutions, which were to come and support our process. That was done late last year because, as I said, it was supposed to have been done sometimes by April, but because of COVID, there was a delay. The consultants have already been recruited. But now the most important is a component 2, which is on SME linkages and upgrading program. That is small and micro enterprises, linkages and upgrading program. This has already been advertised, and the SMEs are in the process of applying for recruitment, so that once those who will be identified and who will qualify, they will be, and they have innovation, and they have skills, they have the talent, they have the capacity, they will be supported. And the first, as we say, the first one, this component was launched on 20th November, and we are in the final stage of shortlisting SMEs who will be the first cohort. This one, we expect them to be released to start the training and empowerment in the course of next month, so that by June, they will be fully operational. As we say, that is the first cohort, and we have several cohorts. And it is the support is a big support because it's worth about the whole program, all components is about Kenya shillings 4 billion, which will go towards supporting the SMEs.
CS, just to stay with you briefly, when you talk about financial support, are you extending, is the program designed to extend grants, or will it be soft loans, or how will this financial support be structured?
Once you qualify, and you must have be an innovator. And as you said, we advertised and they were to apply. Once you qualify, what you are supposed to get is not loans. It is a grant, because if we are to push innovation, we cannot give you money for loan for innovation, but we are going to support through financial grants. That is the only way we can encourage innovation, because most of the people, they fear that if I invest my money in innovation, I may not get the returns. So we are coming here now and supporting innovators to ensure that we have clear and many and more innovators, because that is the only way we shall be able to activate our manufacturing sectors, that we can achieve what we call the big 4 agendas, because manufacturing, as we know, is one of the big 4 agendas.
Okay. Thank you very much, CS Lawrence Karanja. They are giving us an insight into the HERE program. Let me cross over to Simon. And Simon, I was asking, when you look at the prospective growth of your loan book in 2021, which sectors do you say give you the biggest promise as pockets of growth in this year, Simon?
Thank you, Julius. When I look at the growth projections for 2021, it's good because all indications are clear that actually we're going to have north of 6% in terms of expected economic growth based on the economic growth projections. Then there are some key sectors that we are looking at. Definitely, when you look at agriculture shall be key. Why? Because food shall continue being a key demand within this space. We are happy because we've seen now an international airspace is opening up. So our international trade space especially the importers looking at the Kombas of this world and other importers within that space. There's expected activity across this. So for trade finance, for our customers who are within this space, be it export or import, even LC space, and the international trade space, then we expect this now to bounce back. Other sectors that you are looking at, yes, definitely education is gonna be a key thing with the developments and the things that we are looking at, because learning has to continue. This is a sector that we're actually looking at. Other sectors we are looking at within, especially to support the SMEs, is obviously there's transport sector, because now with the opening up of the economy, definitely we expect now movement of goods and services to be moving across the country. And now to power that within that space, then you look at the oil and gas sector and the renewable energy. This is a sector that actually seems to be picking up. So there are key sectors that we are looking at, even looking at how we've been supporting even the fight against COVID, partnering with the counties, then even the contractors within that space. And as Family Bank, we also even look at things like your bid bonds, your performance bond, and giving now the good experience as we walk the journey of positively transforming our customers.
Right, and many thanks, Simon, for giving us those points. We take another short break. We'll be back with a lot more on this conversation.
Family is working together today. It is creating opportunities for a lifetime of happiness. The future is bright because you can always bank on family. Family Bank, with you for life.
Fashion design is my dream.
Change your story, dream full steam. Yeah. For a brighter path, gotta get to class.
Stop! Got to change my tissue.
No more tissue issue, it's comfy, jammy, leaky, smelly.
Change your story, not your tissue. With always 3-in-1. Get triple protection. 1 locks leaks, 2 locks germs, 3 locks odor, 3-in-1 protection. No more tissue, dream full steam. From hallway to runway, my future, my glory.
Let's go change our story.
With always 3-in-1 protection, available in day and night range.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
Kijani Ridge is Tatu City's premier neighborhood, offering a 1.5 acre fully serviced plot in a controlled development. The plots overlook a beautiful dam with natural green spaces. Kijani Ridge is a walking distance from Nova Pioneer and Crawford International Schools. Families are already moved in and more homes are under construction. Contact us for daily site visits and join us for our mega open weekend on 6th and 7th March.
Breaking news! Shop
Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
What is family? Family is a solid foundation to build on and a strong pillar to lean on. It is believing in each one of us for the betterment of all of us. Family is working together today to win together tomorrow. It is creating opportunities for a lifetime of happiness. It is knowing we are valued, respected, understood, and most of all, supported. The future is bright because you can always bank on family. Family Bank, with you for life.
Ni ukweli imeshuka bei. Smartphone ya nguvu 4G, screen kubwa ya kuwatch game ni 3,999 pekee. Ni ukweli, ni kutoka Safaricom. Iko na battery kubwa na apps zote za Google unazozipenda. Isitoshe inakuja na 3 months free WhatsApp, unachat hadi usiku na kesho ingine. Ni ukweli, plus free education bundles za Shupavu 291 na KICD. What? Ni ukweli, bei ya Neon Ray Pro sasa ni 3,999 pekee. Pata smartphone ya nguvu kwa bei nafuu kutoka kwa duka la Safaricom au dila leo. Safaricom, for you.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
Maji mdosi wangu ametupa simu yangu ndani ya maji.
Mdosi wako kwa sawa.
Venye Nkirota ameniambia ajui na akimpigia simu ashiki. Hi! Guy! What the?
For the women who deserve more, Moped is now in Kenya and more than 40 countries. With its nylon-free surface, new Moped has unique softness and up to 100% protection. Your skin will love it.
I have to admit, I didn't like Sukuma Wiki when I was growing up, but now I've created a way to make Sukuma Wiki tastier and meatier. I simply add 2 Royco beef cubes, and the end result is a rich, meaty flavor. And today, I have brought along my harshest food critics for a taste test. My kids.
More, please.
Royco beef cubes. Add 2 small cubes for a big, meaty taste.
The lady and the boda guy were heading in the same direction. Then they get stuck. A lorry appears going in the opposite direction. Dem anashuka akaipanda. To mean that huo dem hata hakuwa anaenda mahali huo mse wa ndudi alikuwa anaenda. Hivi ndio mademu wengine wanaanzanga safari na wewe, halafu wakigundua hakuna mahali unaenda, they leave you for someone who is moving.
Let me ask you, Kingori, when you buy your kid a pistol to shoot and play games shooting and killing people, yes, what is the fun there?
Policeman.
What?
Gift your loved one a plot of value-added land at the Garden of Joy and get an instant 14K cash voucher for a 500K plus deposit. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
This is NTV.
NTV News Headlines in association with Safaricom Data Statement.
Tonight.
So the cabinet secretaries have all these departments under them. They have various principal secretaries, and now they have chief administrative secretaries for every department.
The president seems to be putting his house in order, but his deputy is not at the table. Questions over implications of the executive changes.
Now, I've been playing both roles. Now that I have been given the role of public service, and Mheshimiwa Lina Jebiru, who is extremely qualified to run the gender department, state department, then all we are doing is harnessing more of our energies.
Demotions branded as reorganization for efficiency. Plus, Kenya approves and clears AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Yet, South Africa is giving theirs away over ineffectiveness.
It is actually a very efficacious vaccine if used in the right context.
Also tonight, when alleged punishment is actually abuse. In a primary school in Kiambu, it ended fatally.
Sasa nikamfuatilia kumuuliza kwa nini anaumwa na kichwa. Ndio aliniambia kuna mwalimu alimgonga.
Plus,
anybody who opposes this document is opposing development in terms of the 30 million in words.
4 more counties give the Constitution Amendment Bill of 2020 the green light. 13 to go to hit the minimum target.
NTV News Headlines in association with Safaricom Data Statement.
Dial *544# and select 8 for data statement. The first time you access your data statements, una get 200 MBs completely free.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongeze zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Wewe usijali. Tuma namba ya kila supplier kwa hiyo soko. Nitajua nitaongea na kila mmoja wao.
Very good. Piga *444# utunukiwe Credo double.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action, and it never tasted this good.
How powerful is the healing power of Vaseline? We applied Vaseline jelly to one leaf, the other we left alone. After just a few days, the difference is visible. Nothing locks in moisture better to keep skin restored. That's the healing power of Vaseline.
In Kenya, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Brushing with Pepsodent removes bacteria and repairs tiny holes before they become cavities. Because every smile matters.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
Helen Paul.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I've been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains removal. Harpic's thick formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach.
Wow, now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
just got faster. Get fully locked on Airtel 4G. Now wider coverage to download, stream, and browse at high speed. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Do you think this is a girl? No! Let them know! Let them know irritation! Let them know! Let them know irritation! We need a revolution!
For the women who deserve more, Moped is now in Kenya and more than 40 countries. With its nylon-free surface, new Moped has unique softness and up to 100% protection. Your skin will love it.
New Tuzo Yogurt Cup. Size yako, bei yako.
Try Panadol Advance for relief from headaches, body aches, and fever. With Panadol's Optizorb formula, the tablet gently breaks down in the stomach, quickly absorbs, and starts providing pain relief in 15 minutes. For fast and effective pain relief that you can trust, try Panadol Advance.
Welcome back to the tail end of this conversation where we're looking at the state of the business environment and the recovery in light of the shock that we suffered in 2020. And we are privileged to have Lawrence Karanja from the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Enterprise Development. We have Simon Ndungu from the Family Bank. And finally, we have Engineer Martha Cheruto from the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Let me start with you, Engineer, very briefly. The subject of de-risking SMEs, just keen to know your thoughts around how much the credit guarantee scheme could change the landscape as far as this is concerned.
Yes. So one thing that we know as a country is that majority of businesses are informal. The bulk is in SMEs, and above 79% of the businesses are also informal. So one of the things that would really help, first of all, is just formalization of these SMEs. Because one, they lack access to capital, they lack access to finance, and major items that would really support their business. So we do welcome and we look forward to the first implementation of the MSME guarantee scheme that is coming up, and that was proposed recently. So that's one way of them accessing it. The other thing that we feel that would help in terms of de-risking them, or actually just reducing risks for this sector, is a matter of having opportunities for mergers, because looking at building on economies of scale, people coming together and just working together. So we need to see them reorganized into groups and coming up to access all these facilities and even the trainings that are there. The third item that I would look into them, just to make sure that they grow well, because they do have a very huge potential of growth, is now in terms of capacity building. Let us look at what is the future of work currently. We are living with COVID right now, and even the world has moved on. And all of us are looking, how is the future of work looking at? So we have to go back to our education system and work with the industry and the government to look at all the courses that are currently being offered and what they need to do to enhance them. Part of it is also how to export within the markets that are there. And because we are keen on buy Kenya, build Kenya, and just making sure that we turn the balance of trade to exports and just to do import substitution, then that is one other area that they need to do. Finally, or just part of, it's still on the same context, is in terms of the market linkages. We could have all this, but if we do not link them to the big players within the market and having supply diversity and them accessing all the government opportunities, an example could be the AGPO, or even the full implementation of the local content and the 40% that is required to be set aside for this group of people, the youth and even the women-led SMEs, then those are opportunities that we feel they can grow. In addition, what we are doing as KEPSA is, I had indicated earlier, is in terms of mentorship and coaching. We noticed that that is one area that there is a huge gap. But when we fill that space and link them to the big players within the economy, encouraging the value chain, supply diversity alongside it, and enhancing just the SME formalization. And one other good success that we can talk about is our engagement with KRA. Is one thing that we have seen a division being set up for the micro and small traders that will just help them actually come up and just be the future that we really want to see them. Let them grow into the big space and the big players that they are, and we are sure
all right.
job creation will be there. Thank you.
Many thanks, Engineer Martha, for that point. Let me cross over to Simon. Simon, there's so many questions online regarding now that we have seen that the COVID-19 relief measures have been reversed, are banks still restructuring and reprofiling loans for those who are affected by COVID-19, or has this also stopped? Maybe you can give us some insight from the Family Bank standpoint.
Thank you, Julius. To be honest, yes, we are still restructuring and considering and refinancing our customers. Remember, this is a journey that most of our customers went through. So our customers who've walked with us all through this journey, then we are very much considerate in terms of considering their facilities and also even restructuring. And over and above that, we've also gone further to refinance. Remember, if you're in hotel industry, hospitality, and your business went down, now the economy has opened up, then we are back there now to help you and even support you in terms of even some financing. So yes, we are doing that. And over and above that, looking at it even from the perspective of the risky sector and de-risking now the SMEs, yes, it's considered as a risky sector. As a bank now, we have come up with mechanisms to de-risk this particular sector. One of it is insuring and doing a risk transfer, where our customers now insure their businesses through our group company, that is Kenya Orient. We also go further, even looking at it, even in terms of financing them and partnership, even the guarantees that we've heard about. We also have the likes of Africa Guarantee Fund, just to make sure that we cushion our customers, and also now even going further to look at from the aspect where the banks takes the risk and we give unsecured lending to our customers. And we just consider the stock and also maybe the assets, the household assets, and do a chattel mortgage. So basically looking at the sector, yes, we are supporting, we are refinancing, and over and above, we're also training our customers to make sure that we also develop that kind of business acumen or the skills to now even continue and run further in this particular environment as we bounce back and the economy is very bullish in terms of recovery.
Many thanks, Simon Dungu from Family Bank there. Let me cross over to CS Lawrence Karanja. A lot of interest online as far as the horticulture and export market is concerned. How is the government supporting businesses, especially those that were affected due to the disruption of supply chains in light of COVID-19?
When you talk about horticulture, you all know very well that especially the one who deal with the foreign market, to support them, government gave about 1.5 billion to support the horticulture sector. And when the horticulture sector came, they decided and they agreed that that money will go towards supporting them in export business. And they partnered up with Kenya Airways, and that went towards supporting the market. But I would want to make it clear that something very funny happened, that during COVID, actually our export in terms of from horticulture industry grew. In fact, the performance last year, that is 2020, was far much better than 2019. Therefore, we are seeing that our horticulture sector is growing. But one of the ways in which we are supporting the sector is also we have the traditional market, which is in the Europe, but we are also trying to look for also alternative markets. And when you talk about alternative markets, we have the Middle East, we have some parts of North Africa, we have some parts of Asia. Of course, you know, we are selling a lot of avocados to China. Therefore, we are looking, the government through the State Department of Trade is supporting the people in horticultural sector by also trying to look for alternative market. But what I would say is that during the COVID-19 and even this the period we are, what I know our business people have done, they have developed a very resilient business structures, and that not just in horticulture but in various other sectors. And one of these reasons is to ensure that, because we are working hard to ensure that there is continuity, there is stability in their business, because before COVID, most of the businesses had three primary objectives. One of them was to increase their profit. Of course, like any other, that is the main objective of doing business. They also wanted to increase their revenue and also increase their market share in whatever they are doing business. But when COVID came, and up to now, most of them, they have pushed down their agenda. And what they are looking at right now, most of them, is trying to reduce their cost of operations, retaining the people they are employing, to ensure that we lose as retro jobs as possible, and improving cash flow. And that is where we are now, because the businesses, most of them reorganized their priorities, realizing that we are living in a new normal.
Yes.
Things had changed, but now they have now started going back to their earlier priorities before COVID. That is trying to increase their revenue, increase their market presence, and increase their profit.
All right. Let me hold you there, CAS, and cross over to Engineer Martha. There's a question here. You mentioned that you're encouraging micro, small, and medium-sized businesses to formalize, yet this increases their tax burden, and many view this as a challenge, especially when incidences of corruption are being highlighted every single day. Don't you think this is a viable question being raised by an SME player here?
I think the other side of it is, what are the advantages of being informal? So from that perspective, it means the benefits of being a formal business is more than being in the informal business. One thing that I highlighted is the things that they cannot get access to. Look at capital. How best can an informal person or a business access capital? When you're formalized, you have very many opportunities that can grow. Yes, when we look at tax, I think the question that we need to ask ourselves is, how best do we expand the tax bracket so that everyone within the country takes a responsibility of being a taxpayer, so that we do get the services and demand for accountability on the expenditure of the revenue that we provide. So with that aspect, then we'd still encourage, because other things that the formalization of SMEs truly helps in a country is that it brings about investments. So the person who is confined to their small business without formalizing it, then it means also attracting someone to come in and partner with you and grow the business with you becomes a big challenge. So it would be necessary and very good that the benefits of formalizing an SME are more than someone who has not formalized their business. Yes.
All right, and I'm told by my director that we have about 5 minutes to go. Let me just start with Simon Dungo, Family Bank. What are your closing thoughts as we wrap up this conversation on the business environment?
Within the business environment, as we've always said, Family Bank with you for life. At whatever stage you are in, right from inception, growth, all the way even to maturity, we are with you and we shall walk with you. And now currently, because there's a campaign we are running, we're saying Fuzu na Family is all about our customers and we want to make sure that our customers succeed. All the way, even looking at how we are supporting our customers, we've now even expanded our outreach to 92 branches. People in Isili, people in Wangige, now our micro and SME customers can actually get to access our services from within our banking halls and also within that particular region. So mine is to say that, yes, 2021 is a better year and we shall bounce back and we shall support our customers in all the sectors that they play in. So welcome to Family Bank and thank you and God bless.
Many thanks, Simon. Let me come to Martha for your closing thoughts. Martha?
Thanks, Julian. In closing, we want to really acknowledge and know that the economic recovery after this pandemic will be uneven in all sectors. Others will be very fast, others will take slow. But it calls on all of us that we do have a mandate to play. We call for a predictable business environment, a conducive business environment, as we continue through CAPSA, advocating for a good business environment, as we monitor the Doing Business Index, the Global Competitive Index. At the same time, also encourage us to move into and see how best can we move into the green economy space. Moving towards green, the blue economy space, the sustainability space, and just working towards ensuring that climate change does not affect us negatively the way it has so far, is one way of us coming back together. And having a national tax policy, a continued public-private dialogue between the private sector and the government and the various stakeholders will enable all of us beyond this space and grow Kenya to really achieve the Vision 2030 that we're all looking at, living the new normal, right now living with COVID and the new world order, at the same time taking advantage of the global space that we have, because we are global right now, no longer playing just local. But then when we work together, we will actually hit what we want to achieve within all the positive forecasts. And let us remain positive and continue engaging. Thank you, Julian.
Thanks, Engineer Martha. I take note of the harmonized tax policy for the country. CAS Lawrence, your closing thoughts?
Yes, on behalf of the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development, ours is to thank the private sector for the cooperation. We want to assure, especially our SMEs, that we shall continue giving them support to facilitate their operation. One of the, and maybe I forgot to say that one of the projects we are coming up in the ministry, we are setting up what we are calling Biashara centers across the region. And in these Biashara centers, so that as SME who want to register his business will have one-stop shop where he can do the incorporation, get his PIN, get his certification from the Kenya Bureau of Standards, register his patent from the KIPI and the rest. So this is, and we are rolling them from next week all across the country. We are starting with with Mombasa, Kisumu, Nairobi, Eldoret, and Nyeri, and we will continue rolling them to various other areas so that we can have, we can get closer to registering the SMEs. One thing, and I just said in brief, most of the SMEs fear that if you become registered, you expose yourself to tax liabilities, etc., etc. I believe once you become registered and you are regulated, you, as Mother said, you start to gain more if you are known that you operate than if you are not, and if nobody knows you are not operating. For instance, the services we are bringing, credit guarantee and the rest, those will go to the